Hi everyone, happy Friday. Today I have a book called A Place for Zero, and this is a lot about, this book is about finding our purpose in life and how most of us can be very different, and sometimes, asking ourselves, well, what is my purpose? What is my passion? Why am I here? Like, what should I do, as a career, if you're younger, or like when you're in high school, like, who am I? What am I good at? All these things. So this book is actually like a really cute book about how the number zero finds its purpose and how it can actually help, not only just helping itself, but zero helps the whole community, right? So once one person identifies their purpose and puts time and effort into trying to find out who they are and embrace who they are, they get to inspire and help those people around them. So let's look into, and I'm going to read again a book on hoopla, which is through the Albany Public Library. So I'm just going to turn it around. Here we are. A Place for Zero. It says, a math adventure. Not long ago, Zero lay floating on the calm waters on Central Lake. He could hear the happy cries of the other numbers 1 through 9 as they played in the meadow. Zero didn't play Addemup because he had nothing to add. He felt he had no place among the other digits. Zero lived in Digitaria, a curious country ruled by King Multiplus and Queen Angeline. Their positive outlook helped the kingdom prosper. Count Infinity, the king's trusted advisor, was the one who shaped all the numbers, and when all the digits retired, he replaced them with shiny new numerals. Every number knew its place. A 7 was the number of days in a week, and 5 was the number of points on a star. A 2 was handy for counting the wheels on a bicycle. The ones were important because Count Infinity added them together to make the other numbers. Every number had a place except for 0. Count Infinity had been experimenting when he formed the strange new digit, but 0 meant nothing, and no one was sure what his job would be. King Multiplus declared that no more zeros would be made until they found a purpose for this one. 0 was alone. Nowadays, no one mentions 0 much. A few times someone tried to count with him, they always ended up with nothing. I need to find my place, 0 thought. He decided to go back to visit the wise old Count Infinity and ask his advice. Count Infinity made incredible things. He made knickknacks, whatsits, and thingamajigs. The most impressive thing he ever made was an enormous machine, the numerator. The numerator had a vacuum tube on one side and a large curved spout on the other. When Count Infinity placed digits under the tube, they were sucked up with a great clanking and whirring until finally they emerged from the spout with a totally new number. Count Infinity could put in 2 ones to make a bouncy baby 2, or 3 ones to make a roly-poly little 3. As 0 stood shyly in the doorway, Count Infinity looked up and noticed him. "Ah, young 0, Infinity exclaimed. "You're just in time to help me figure out a better way to make a 1. "What do you mean?" 0 asked. "Well, most numbers are easy to make. I simply pop a handful of 1s into the trusty numerator. Making a 1, though, that's trickier." "To make a 1, Count Infinity exclaimed, "I spend hours handcrafting it with a special material called integrium. Why don't you just stick in 1 into the numerator? Asked Zero. Count Infinity sighed. I've tried that, but the numerator adds. You have to put in at least 2 numbers. No 2 numbers I can think of add up to. Count Infinity's eyed Zero in a strange way. Could you put this 1 into the numerator for me? The Count asked. Just help the 1 stand right under the vacuum tube. As Zero did, he was sucked up into the numerator along with the 1. Zero barely had time to realize what was happening before he was out of the other side. Sitting next to him were the old 1 and a shiny new 1. Wonderful! Count Infinity cried. We have discovered your additive identity. I bet my binomials that if we add you to any number, we will always come up with the same number. You can help replenish the supply of digits in Digitaria. Zero thanked the Count and slowly walked home. He was happy to have a job, but somehow he wasn't satisfied. 1s could make digits too. He wanted to do something no one else could do. I still feel like I haven't really found my place, he said to himself. As Zero walked, he had an idea. I wonder what would happen if I were multiplied with another number. Everyone knew that multiplication was a powerful thing, and only the king could use it. Often the product of the multiplied number would be too large for anyone to understand. Zero swallowed hard at the boldness of his idea. Then he stood up as straight as a round digit can. I will ask the king, he decided, and set off for the castle. At the gates of the castle, Zero was stopped by 2 sharp-looking 7s. What kind of number are you? One guard asked. You look like a 9 someone squished. Both guards began to laugh. That's a sign of bullying. I need to ask the king about multiplication, said Zero. The guards stopped laughing. They looked at each other. Well, said one, you'd better go right in. So that means serious business. Zero entered the castle. He saw King Multiplus and Queen Angeline on their thrones. The crowds of numbers filled the hall, waiting to address them. The 5 standing next to Zero asked why he was there. I'm asking the king to multiply me, Zero answered. The 5 gasped. Other numbers who heard began to whisper. Absolute nonsense. It's too much. Soon a loud buzz ripped through the hall. What is the meaning of this? King Multiplus boomed, displeased by the growing confusion. It's 0, Queen Angeline told him, and something about multiplication. Multiplication, the king exclaimed. That is serious business. Let him come forward and explain himself. The room was silent. I would like to be multiplied, Zero told the king. I thought it might help me find my place and purpose. Yes, said the king. I have wondered myself what would happen. He ordered the guards to fetch his multitube. The tube was made of solid integrium. We need to find someone who is willing to be multiplied with 0, the king said. No one moved. Finally, a young 1 stepped forward. I'll do it, the 1 said bravely. Together, 0 and the 1 jumped into the factor end of the tube. All that could be heard was clanking and whirring of the tube. Suddenly, 0 and the 1 shot out of the other end of the tube. As 0 looked around, he saw himself a small, round figure who looked strangely familiar. 5 alive!" exclaimed the king. "It's another 0." The other numbers were speechless. "Why, we must try this again," declared the flabbergasted king. "This time we will multiply 0 with a 7. He called for one of his 7 guards, and the guard's knees shook as he stepped forward. The same thing happened with 0 and the 7. The king laughed and said, "Well, 7, you have your answer. No matter what number we multiply you with, we get 0. That was big news. The other numbers chatted excitedly, but 0 said, "Now there are more zeros with no real place." The 1 patted 0 on the back, and 0 was glad to have a friend at a time like this. "I want to make new numbers that no one has ever seen before," 0 said. "Sire, what number do you get if you add 1 to 9? It was one of those questions that no one ever asked, and the king coughed. "As everyone knows, anything bigger than 9 is many," he said. "We don't think about 1 plus 9 because there are no digit for a number that big." 0 looked at the 1 standing next to him. He rubbed his eyes, and together he and the 1 looked like this, a 10. "Sire," he cried, "look at us. We can make a new number to represent what you get when you add 1 and 9. The king scratched his chin. 0 asked 9 ones to stand together. "Sire, if you add 1 more to this group, we could use a 0 to show that all those 1s have moved over to the next place. When I stand in this place next to my friend 1 as a 0, I can represent 0 ones. But now represents 9 plus 1. "I like your thinking, 0, the king said, "but," he whispered, "I can't call the new number 9 plus 1. Quick, think of a new name." 0 whispered back, "This new number will attend to a lot of business. Could we call it attend?" The king couldn't hear 0 very well, so in a loud voice he said, "I proclaim that this new number will be called a 10. The numbers all loved it. "Hooray for 10! Hooray for 10!" they shouted. The numbers crowded around 0 and asked if they could stand beside him. 0 gave each digit a turn, and soon they were making wonderful new numbers like 20, 30, 60, and 90. Before long, they were standing next to each other in different combinations to make all kinds of new numbers like 32, 47, 89, and on. Big numbers didn't seem quite so scary anymore. When the excitement calmed down, 0 felt someone tugging at his arm. "What about me?" asked a small voice. "Is it my turn to stand next to you?" the new little 0 asked. "I'm sorry," 0 said. 2 zeros standing next to each other still equal nothing. The little 0 looked so sad that the brave 1 and 0 could each put an arm around her. Suddenly, 0 had a thought. "Look, sire," he called to the king. "What do we look like?" The king said slowly, "Why, you look like a new number, bigger than any I've ever seen, bigger even than the new number 90. 0 said proudly, "We can represent what you get when you add 10 tens. "Splendid!" exclaimed the king. Soon all the other digits were clamoring to stand next to the 2 zeros. They made numbers like 500, 700, and 9 got so excited when he helped make the number 900 that he almost fell over. In the middle of the excitement, Zero noticed Count Infinity beaming at him. "Well, Zero," the Count smiled, "did you find what you were looking for?" Zero nodded. "I just wanted to mean more than nothing," he said, "and now I think I've finally found my place." And from then on, Zero played Addemup as happily as everyone else. The end. Well, I hope you like that really cute book. It's so awesome to find our purpose in life. And, sometimes at that moment, no matter what age, we get nervous to, realize like, okay, well, I'm going to step out into the unknown, right? All of these numbers had no idea that they could add up, and they had so many abilities that they had hidden inside them. And we have special qualities. We have a purpose in life. We don't mean nothing. And this world might be, like our society and businesses and schools might be on hold right now, but we are not on hold, right? Our life is still going on. We're breathing. Our heart is beating, right? The blood is flowing through our body. We are still here. So nothing is on hold. You can always find your purpose. Take out a book, right? Read a book. It might inspire you. These children books, like children's books might be for children because of the pictures and stuff, but they have such beautiful meaning that they are for everyone, because someone might be struggling. Well, what is my purpose? What is my meaning? What is the meaning of life? Things like that. They want to know what they're good at. They want to know what they're capable of doing. But without that courage to ask the questions and try, then how would they know? How would they know? So Zero, that's a really great story to really have that courage to stand up for what he believes in his gut, right? He had this feeling in his gut like, I'm more than this, right? And he took that step, and then every step he had, it built his confidence up and up and up. And it not only just helped himself, with his self-esteem and finding his purpose, but look what happened around him, right? So life is like a ripple effect. Once someone is affected, it affects everyone. And that can be positive or negative. If someone's struggling with an addiction, whether it's gambling addiction, alcoholism, drug use, prescription medicine, all of these substances and bad, like unhealthy habits, it not only affects that one person, but it affects everyone around them, whether it's a family, coworkers, friends, community, law enforcement, but like everyone. So the more we're kind, the more that we listen, the more that we accept each other and understand each other, the better we'll feel. Because a lot of people, they'll turn to drugs and alcohol because they're missing something. They feel like they're missing something, whether they've experienced trauma, they've experienced something very unhealthy, and they don't know who to talk to or how to cope with it. So it's very important to build that strong foundation within your friends or your family, and ask these questions. And don't be scared to ask. Don't be scared to find out what your purpose is, because it's there, right? Everyone has a purpose in this life, and just try it. Maybe it might be coloring or drawing or something very artistic. Maybe it might be writing or exercising, and not just exercising and getting yourself healthy, but sharing your experience helps motivate and encourage other people to do the same, right? So this is that strong foundation in the community that we need. And we are here for each other. There's so much out there that can really help us if we put ourselves forward. I hope you enjoyed today's book, and I'll see you Monday for a new set of books. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.